Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. And I just bumped the table. My name is Joanna Holden. I am an author, blogger, and vlogger. And today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 tips on how to win NaNoWriMo if you are a slow drafter. Many of us struggle with NaNoWriMo. We love the idea. We love all the hype. We love the camaraderie of other writers in our community. But we feel like failures every time we don't reach the 50K. So I used to be one of the fastest drafters that I knew. In fact, probably the fastest drafter that I knew. I could whip out the 50,000 words in 1 month, no problem. I won NaNoWriMo 2 years running, and then I grew up and was not a teenager anymore. And suddenly I had adult responsibilities, and I had a family to take care of, and I had work, and all of a sudden, I couldn't fast draft anymore. And I thought for a long time something was wrong with me. And I've talked about this in a previous video. I literally thought something was wrong with my brain that had slowed down or that was messed up somehow that was making me draft slower. And then I realized that it wasn't that anything was wrong with me. I'm just a slow drafter now, and that's fine. If you feel like you're stuck in a boat where you want to push out 50K in a month, but you just don't think you can because you just don't write very fast, then I'm going to offer you 3 tips to help you to write faster and be able to reach that 50K goal in plenty of time without the stress of feeling like your novel is terrible. Now, I'm not here to say that you have to reach the 50K in order to succeed. The whole point is to get you farther along in your novel than you were before. But for those of us who just are really dying to, for once in our life, actually make the 50K, here are 3 tips to help you to draft faster so that you can win. So the first tip is to use placeholders. Those 2 little curvy things they put on the outsides of sentences sometimes, use those. Basically, if you're racing through your manuscript and you come to a place where you're like, oh, I don't want to stop here and take the time to delve into all of this, but it has to be in here somewhere, you can just put those little placeholders around a note to yourself, reminding yourself what needs to go there, and then just keep writing the rest of the manuscript. I do this a ton for descriptions. I will put in the little placeholders. Actually, a lot of times I'll throw in extra asterisks on either side to just kind of help me to see it as I'm going back through. And I'll just throw in a word like describe, or more detailed description, or explain da-da-da. It also works great for adding a note to yourself. Like if the dialogue is really cheesy, add a little note, less cheesy. Then you don't have to worry about going back and editing the dialogue. You know you'll come back to it. It helps to reduce the stress in your mind of knowing that what you're writing isn't its best by knowing that you already know how to fix it. So you can just keep going for now. I have picked up speed significantly since I started doing this. The second tool that you can use is bullet points. These are my new favorite. One of my least skillful areas of writing is action sequences. I suck at action sequences, but I'm kind of writing an action-y adventure high fantasy right now, so it is essential that I include them in the story. And I can see the action sequences in my mind, but I just can't put them on paper. It takes me a very long time to write them out, and then it takes me even longer time to go back and fix it because they're that crappy. So what I've started doing is, instead of sitting down and slogging through all these action sequences, which is kind of an ironic statement if you think about it, I use bullet points. I go through, and it's kind of like a mini outline just for that part of the scene. I go through and I say, and he did this, and he did this, and he did this, and he did this, and he did this. And then I keep going with the rest of the manuscript. Then later I can come back and just fill in the gaps in that and add the narrative, dialogue, etc. around those little notes to myself. It's kind of similar to the placeholder, but a little bit more detailed. You're actually going through and writing down each event in sequence within that part of the scene, and all you have to go and back and do is just fill it in with narrative and dialogue. It's so great. It is so helpful. You can do this with action sequences. You can do this with descriptions. You can just make a list of all the things you want to describe. You can do this with dialogue. You can just write out the lines of dialogue and then later go back in and fill in the action that's happening during it, or the narrative, the thought processes around it, etc. You can just write out the dialogue like a script and then go back later and fill it in. Bullet pointing is so great, and I would highly suggest you use it if you're finding yourself just slugging through a certain kind of scene. And the third and final tool that you can use is mini word sprints. Pause. with other slow drafters. Y'all, this is important. The problem with word sprints with other people is that it quickly can become a comparison game, especially if you are like turtle slow in your drafting, right? So like you're going maybe 200 words in a 20-minute session, and you're going against people who can whip up 500 words in a 20-minute session, or even 1,000 words in a 20-minute session. So when you do your word sprints, do them with people who have a similar level of speed as you. Okay, maybe a little faster than you to kind of help you to kind of push those limits, but definitely not so much faster than you that you don't feel you can keep up at all. That is detrimental to your writing. It will make you want to give up instead of pushing harder. So do your word sprints, your little 20-minute word sprints, 10-minute word sprints, whatever, but make sure that you're doing them with someone who has a similar word speed to you. That will help you, it will encourage you, and it will help you get the words written down without added pressure. And a little bonus one for you, at number 4, choose not to edit. This one is hard for me not because my inner editor is that mean to me, but because editing is my favorite part. Once the draft is finished, I love going back through with 2 fists full of highlighters and a long list of notes and just tearing the thing apart and fixing it. Because I'm no longer having to drag stuff out of my brain and figure out what the heck this mess is. I can fix the mess because it's already been made. But I have to choose in the moment when I'm drafting not to edit because it slows me down. Now sometimes, and I've talked about this in my writing process video, sometimes it is okay to take a break. You have to go back and fix it because it's become such a mess you no longer know where you are. That's part of being a pantser, planter, and sometimes even plotters have to do this. So if you can choose not to edit for those 4 weeks, you may very well just hit that 50K in those 4 weeks. You just have to really, really be mean to yourself and not edit. Or maybe not be mean to yourself, maybe look at it as being incredibly merciful to yourself. You are learning the skill of having grace with yourself in your writing. How's that for you? It's a positive spin on it, right? Well, there you have it. That is my 3 tips plus a bonus 4th tip for how to win NaNoWriMo this year if you are a slow drafter. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That like goes a long way to help support my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe. I post new writing tip videos every Saturday, and sometimes I do day in the life of vlogs to encourage your writer life on Wednesdays. You can also check me out on social media. I'm available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. All the links are in the description box below. And you can always go and check out my website at www.joannaholden.com. There you can check out the critique services I offer, as well as other resources to help you get your writer journey started. I have a blog where I post weekly short stories, author interviews, writing tips, and my writing journal where I post updates on how my writing is going. My fairy tale novella, Little Hood, is available for purchase via Amazon. Links are in the description box below as well. And you can still order signed copies via my website. However, the address is still pending since we just moved, so the process may be a little slower. To stay updated on my current novel in progress, you can sign up for my newsletter. Thank you all again so much for your support. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you all when NaNoWriMo starts. Bye!